This is an awesome facility. Robin McNeill, the CEO here, won the New Zealand Prime Minister's Space Award in 2024, and we've got an incredibly talented group of people of 20 really super smart people that are working very passionately in the space sector and space industry. Of course, today, Penny Simmons, it's great to be with you, the MP for Invercargill, but also our awesome Minister for the Environment. And you would have seen that Judith Collins and Penny have announced this morning that we are expanding the number of space launches in New Zealand from a limit of 100 up to a limit of 1,000. That's entirely appropriate. This is an industry now that's worth about $2.6 billion. It's grown almost 50% in the last 5 years, and of course we want to double it by 2030. Importantly, it employs about 17,000 people, and then we have advanced aviation on top, another $500 million, and another 3,500 people employed there as well. So, New Zealand now, most people are probably unaware, and often surprised when I talk to leaders around the world, we are the third biggest launcher of rockets in the world now, overtaking, moving from fourth to third last year. So we are really committed as a government to say this is exactly the kind of sector we want to see continue to develop and to grow in New Zealand. It's why we're putting such a big effort into educational reforms to teach our kids to do reading and to do maths well, because we want them to be able to access high-paying jobs like this in the future as well, because there's a huge opportunity for New Zealand in the sector. So with that, Penny and I are happy to take your questions.
What kind of impact are you hoping that these additional launches will have on the future growth of New Zealand?
Yeah, well, as I said, we want to double the size of the sector in 2030, and New Zealand geographically is in a very unique place, and as a government we've been very leading, I guess, on regulatory settings as well. But there's just huge opportunity for us in this sector. Obviously here you've got ground-based satellite monitoring happening here, down here at Awarua, but you've also got Peter Beck and others doing work in space. You've got advanced aviation happening with Dawn and aerospace out of Christchurch. So, there's been a fantastic sector that has built up. Some very smart engineers, some very smart commercial entrepreneurial folk that are actually going to build out a space business. And you've already seen it. The fact that we've grown 50% in just 5 years, and we want to double, we are very, very committed to it.
And so if we hadn't extended this, we would have hit the 100 limit sometime this year. So going up to 1,000 should take us out to about 2050. Had we not done that extension, each launch would have had to get consent themselves. So it would have been really inhibiting for organisations that want to launch from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Does National support a referendum on the Maori seats?
Sorry, we'll close out. Are there anything else on the announcement you want to talk through on the space side? And then we'll move on to issues of the day.
I've just got one.
Yep.
What are we doing to ensure the workforce pipeline to make sure that we actually have the people we need to grow the space industry?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I keep saying, when half our kids don't go to school regularly, when 80% aren't at the standard they need to be at on mathematics going into high school, we want to get them those foundational skills so that they can actually drive their education to actually take on these high-paying jobs that are here and are available. And there's many other sectors with high-paying jobs that we want to attract in the next 20 years to lift our standard of living and to make all of us wealthier, so we've got more choices as to what we get to do with our life. So you're seeing us make a big investment in year 1 to 8 in particular. We've also announced that we're replacing the NCA to make sure that we get it much more grounded and a much more robust qualification, so that we actually give New Zealand kids the foundations so that they can go on and take on jobs like this. So we're taking on, we're building the future by taking on a massive amount of educational reform to build a world-class education system, and that's how we get here.
Are there any short-term measures that we can take to make sure that we've got the staff now?
Well, a lot of what we've been doing is making sure that where we need, often, the space community is a global community, as you'd understand, and there's an awful lot of partnering with lots of different parts of the space community and sector around the world. And where possible, we're making it very easy to be able to bring talent into New Zealand that actually can not just help us grow our businesses, but also share their knowledge with our people here in New Zealand. And that's what you're seeing here. Here we are in Invercargill. We've got folk from Invercargill, but we've got folk from all around the world that have come here. And that combination of all those people coming together, sharing their knowledge, is what actually drives the learning and the growth as well. So it's a really exciting thing, and this is what we want to see a lot more of in New Zealand. We want to be able to build out really highly technical sectors that we excel in. We have the smartest people in the world. We've got incredible talent in this country, and we want to be able to make the most of it.
It's really great as well as the high-tech space technical skills. Also, we need people that can do the engineering, the welding, that kind of thing. So it's right from the engineering apprentices through to the
vocational,
PhDs.
yep.
So it's great to have that whole range of skills that can be used here.
Yeah, in a place like this, you've got a great SIT that actually does exactly that, because a lot of the supporting ancillary services that are needed to support this facility are coming with people with really good technical skills. Okay, sorry mate, we'll get back to your questions. Yeah.
Does National support a referendum on the Maori seats?
Oh look, it's not something we've discussed. What we're really focused on is fixing the basics and building the future at the moment.
The Treasury has just released some documents which show that Minister Nicola Willis was told the Reserve Bank she was considering a review in July, and that was 7 months ago. There's obviously time that it takes to create a review, but why did it take 7 months for this to be put together when it was told in July that she wanted to go forward with this?
Oh look, you saw, there's two parts to what happened through the COVID period, which I think New Zealand needs to really understand and to learn from. Should we, God forbid, have any other similar experiences in the future, I think it's very important we capture the lessons from our economic management through that period of time. There's two parts, as you know. There's fiscal management, which is led by the government. There was a pretty damning report of the Labour government, given the carnage and the economic vandalism they caused through that COVID period. But also monetary policy, as we often say, are mates to fiscal policy. And it's quite right, given the huge amount of printing of money that took place and low interest rates, and you saw house prices jump 30% in a single year. There's some very good questions that we need to answer. So what we've put in place is a really objective, independent review with some world experts around monetary policy to ask the questions and work out what we did well and what lessons we learnt from it.
Do you see that it does look like this has been timed in with the upcoming election?
No, I reject that completely. That is rubbish. The New Zealand economic management through the COVID period caused huge amounts of pain and suffering for low and middle income working New Zealanders, in fact all New Zealanders. That's what led to the rampant inflation, the rampant interest rates, the economy in recession, and people losing their jobs. And so it's quite right when billions of dollars have been wasted, or we need to understand how it was deployed. We're in power for 3 years in our first term, and we are working this year to make sure that we continue the work of government. And so it's quite appropriate that we undertake a review of the Reserve Bank, and they are an independent Reserve Bank from government, and it's quite right, given the amount of money and losses that were taken on what was the money printing, that we actually ask some pretty serious questions.
Are you confident with the proper processes being followed with the appointment of Minister Judith Collins to the Law Commission? Oh,
absolutely. She's eminently qualified. She's an outstanding person to lead that commission.
How would you respond to concerns about it looking like cronyism?
I disagree. Anyone would look at Judith Collins' resume and say, as someone who's been deeply involved in law for over 40 years, a King's Counsel, previous responsibilities she took in law society positions before she even came to politics, she is eminently qualified. And again, when you look at people like Sir Geoffrey Palmer, who held the same position, having come from a political background as well, she's going to be outstanding. We're very fortunate we've got her to take on that job.
Prime Minister, can you rule out National supporting the referendum on Maori seats?
Again, as I said to you, it's not something we've discussed as a caucus. What we're focused on right now is making sure we fix the basics as we've been doing, and as we get this economic recovery underway, we actually shape it so that we can realise all the potential of this country, and that means doing things like we're doing here today of expanding a sector like space and making sure we create high-paying jobs for people. Okay.
Do you see value in the Maori seats?
Again, it's not something we've discussed as a caucus. They've been a feature of our political system for some time. Really the major priority for the National Party is to make sure that we have the policies that actually help this great country of ours realise even more of its potential, and that's what we are single-mindedly focused on. But we'll have a chat about it in coming months. Cool. Thanks, team.